Hey guys, this is Clay, and welcome back to the SEL. So today I figured we would go over the Lionel catalog since it came out on the 12th, and most everyone knew that the Lionel Vision Line Big Boy was going to be in the catalog, but when I saw the preview of the cover here a few days before, and I saw the Dreyfus Hudson here, I knew I was in trouble. Because I've been wanting a streamlined engine for a while, and I knew a lot of people have been waiting on the Dreyfus to be rerun this year, and I'll talk about the Dreyfus when we get to it. But let's get started. So, as I mentioned earlier, getting into the Steam portion of the catalog, Lionel is rerunning their Vision Line Big Boy, and while I would love to get a Big Boy at some point, right now my layout is I just don't have the curves for it. You need 072 and I have 064. While I could probably get away with a Vision Line Big Boy, it probably wouldn't be too happy going around my curves. But at some point I do want to get one. They are offering the Restoration Big Boy, the oil burner with the Big Boy marking on the front. That's now running around as it is now. And no matter what version of the Big Boy you get, you'll have the pop-off steam effect, the 4-digit addressing from the Class A that was offered last year, the depleting coal load, and the force coupler. However, obviously the oil-burning version of the Big Boy will have the depleting coal load, so you'll see that in the price difference because the oil version of the Big Boy is only $2,799 as opposed to $2,899. Depending on what road name you get, or not road name, but road number you get for your Big Boy. And they're also offering 2 Greyhound versions, which I think are kind of cool. I do like the yellow line version, but once again, I'm not going to be picking up a Big Boy just because I wouldn't be able to run it like it would. Plus, if I did, I'd probably get 4014, which would also mean I would need at least the 4-pack of the passenger cars down here, because these excursion cars are apparently very hard to find in any capacity. So for now, I will be respectfully saying no to a Vision Line Big Boy. However, I do think this Vision Big Boy superset is super cool. And what's cool about it is, if you don't know, the Vision Line Big Boy has at least 2, if not 3 speakers, if I'm not wrong. Let me go back and look. So you should have at least 1 speaker in the tender and stereo speakers in the engine itself. So, and the packs here also have speakers in the middle cars of the set. And the box car down here at the end is a Freight Sounds boxcar, and the caboose is a Vision caboose, so it also has a speaker in it. So not only are you getting sounds from the engine, you're getting sounds down the entire train. So you're getting the squeals and the brakes and the crew talk all the way through the whole train, which I think is super cool. It's super expensive at $4,500, but it's super cool. But what I would also like to see is maybe you have a different options. Maybe you're not customizable, like you pick and choose which cars are in your set, but maybe Lionel offers this one and then maybe a set that's all specific for express cars, all stock cars, something to give it a little bit of choice in the matter. I mean, regardless, it's still a really cool set, and a set that I obviously can't afford, but it's a really cool set nonetheless. So moving on to the Vision Reefers, they're doing another run of the Santa Fe ones, the Pacific Fruit Express ones, and they're doing Fruit Growers Express, and I don't think they've done Great Northern in the Vision line yet. I'm not sure about that. I could be wrong, but I don't ever remember seeing Great Northern in the lineup for Vision Line before, as far as the Reavers go anyway. So moving on to the stock cars Vision Line sets, they're doing the Rio Grande, Pennsylvania, Texas and Pacific, and Union Pacific. And this year for the stock sounds, they're doing a sheep, which I think is kind of funny. So for those of y'all who are building your own zoo or farm trains, you're gonna have to be picking up one of these to complete your set. So good luck with that. So moving on to the Legacy Steam section, and with the Dreyfuss Hudson. So from what I understand, Lionel has not run the Dreyfuss Hudson in 23 years. So it's obviously garnered a bunch of excitement in the community for those who collect New York Central, those who like streamlined engines, and those who are just a fan of the Dreyfuss itself. So you'll have two different versions here, one with a PT tenor from the Vision Line Niagara that they ran a few years back that has the water scoop effect, priced at $1,800, and just a normal Dreyfuss Hudson priced at $1,700. And each version has the normal drivers and the scullish drivers. And I do like this darker version over here. I think it's an interesting contrast. But I think if I had to get one, I would get the one on the next page. So let's take a look at that one. So I like the combination of the scullish drivers and the blue pinstriping on the tender for this one. So like I said, if I had to get one from the catalog, it would probably be this one. And if I did get it, I would at least get the 4-pack down here, so I would have a set of passenger cars to go with it. And I do think, since the Dreyfuss Hudson and the 20th Century Limited had a double diner in that train consist, it's really cool of Lionel to be offering a diner 2-pack, one with sounds, one without, to kind of round out that 8-car train that the 20th Century Limited was known for. Also with it being according to the catalog here, the most famous train in America. So let's move on to the next page. I've heard a lot of excitement for these Russian decapods, especially the Frisco 1630 down here. I've heard of a lot of excitement for this particular one. Now, what I think is cool in this model is all of them have the swinging bell. They don't have whistle steam, and I think that's because of the smaller boiler that the model has, and a wired tethered, I guess, for a electrical footprint. But it is really cool that Lionel was able to get the swinging bell in there. And here's I believe the I-1, maybe. I could be wrong about that. Pennsylvania fans, don't kill me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. So it's a 210 basically. So you have the normal tender version here and the long haul tender, which I won't be getting one of these because I'm not particularly a Pennsylvania fan. It's a cool model nonetheless, with whistle steam and road specific details, all that stuff, but not for me. Then you have the 484s, the Santa Fe 484, and I believe the restoration one is what most people might be getting. I know a couple people that will be getting the restoration version. And I've also heard a lot of talk about the Blue Goose version over here. Well, a lot of people like the Blue Goose. A lot of people wish that the drivers down here were blue to match the engine. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe it's a rendering mistake. We don't know. We'll see what Lionel has to say about that. And I've heard some mixed feelings about the war bonnet one up here. Me personally, I kind of like the silver, but at the same time, I feel like they might have should have done, if they're going to do it like this and not do the boiler the same color to match the war bonnet, they should have just done another midnight bonnet or black bonnet, which at the same time, I think they've already done a black bonnet, which may be why they went with a war bonnet tender. But that's, like I said, I think if it had they done the silver on the boiler to match, that would have been a really special engine that a lot of people would have picked up. But it may still be successful. We'll see. So moving on to the Camelbacks, these were really popular from last year, and they're doing the Lackawanna, Erie, Pennsylvania, Atlantic City Railroad, and the Lehigh in New England. And I think this is actually kind of a really unique paint scheme, and this should be a pretty cool looking engine whenever they finally arrive. And it also looks like in the Christmas version in the back of the catalog, which I may look at. We'll see how long this video goes. There's a Christmas version of it in the back, so maybe I'll pull that up since there's a couple of scale options in the back too. So moving on to the legacy diesel options, we have the E8 and E9 sets offered in the Southern Pacific, Amtrak, Southern, and New York Central. I won't be picking any of these up because I just don't think a E9 or E8. I don't want one just yet. So not for me in this case, but it should be a pretty cool model whenever they do arrive. Moving on to the Aberdeen, Carolina, and Western. I believe they ran these last year. Maybe not the E9 or the E8. Maybe they did. I don't remember. But I do remember that they did run something very similar to this in the last catalog, offering a dumb car 2 as well as a diner 2-pack. And it actually includes actual personnel from the railroad itself, which is pretty unique and pretty cool. So moving on to the ES44s, it seems like Lionel does ES44s in every catalog now, which that's not a problem for me. I'm still waiting on them to do the Norfolk Southern heritage units so I can pick up a Central Georgia and Savannah Atlanta version, which being someone from Georgia and having some Savannah Atlanta and Central Georgia rolling stock, it would be really cool to have the legacy versions of those in my collection as well. But they have Burlington Northern, BNSF, Kansas City Southern, 2 versions of Kansas City Southern, Conrail, and the Chicago Northwestern set or engines. And each engine, it looks like, comes with at least one version, if not 2, and either a non-powered engine or a super bass engine. And from what I've heard, the super bass engines are a really cool option to have for a non-powered because of the extra sound you get from the engine as opposed to a normal non-powered engine. So moving on to the NW2s, you got the Great Northern, Chesapeake and Ohio, Detroit Terminal, Burlington Northern, Indiana Harbor, and Lehigh Valley. Once again, I don't think I'm going to be picking one of these up, but they are pretty interesting engines, and maybe I'll get one someday for maybe a yard goat or something like that. So they're also offering the GP20s and the Chicago and Burlington, Santa Fe, the Kyle, which I don't think I've ever heard of that, or maybe it's KYLE, I don't know. 2 options for your Penn Central, one with Penn Central on the body, one without, Cotton Belt, and the Kansas City Terminal. Once again, I don't think I'm going to be picking up one of these from this catalog, but they still look pretty cool to me. And now we're moving on into the sets with the Lehigh Valley Camelback set. So you get a Camelback, 3 coal cars, 3 hopper cars, and a boxcar. I don't think I will be getting one of these. It's a really good price for what it is, for what you get. You get, what are these? They're die-cast trucks, operating couplers, removable co-loads. The boxcar has die-cast trucks, opening couplers with hidden tabs, opening doors, and a little bobber caboose at the end with interior and marker lights. So you get all that for $1,100. And if you go to a dealer, you might be able to get it for below $1,000, which that's a really good price for this kind of set. Moving on to the Union Railroad Hot Metal Train Legacy set. You get an NW2, some gondolas, a hot metal car, 3 of them, or 2 of them it looks like. And then if you get the add-on car, you get 3, and then you have a caboose at the end with the marker lights and the hidden tab and lighted interior, things like that. Then you have the Iron Hippo set, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars and a caboose for $1,300. And if you get the 2-pack, you get 8 cars, which that's a really long train and really good if you like having trains that are consistent all the way through, especially for you Pensy fans out there. And you also down here have the option to pick up Pennsylvania Vision cars. These are the exact same cars, or not cars, but caboose as the one offered in the Big Boy Superset, just run in the Pennsylvania road name instead. So if you want one of these, they should be pretty cool options for Pensy fans out there. And it also looks like in the set itself you get a Vision cab car. So it's the same thing, just a slightly different number, maybe a different paint scheme, but should be pretty cool. Moving on to the Rock Island Quad Cities rocket set. You get a Rock Island engine as well as 2 passenger cars. And down here you have the Santa Fe Fast Fruit. You have a Santa Fe 484, 3 of the Vision line cars, as well as a Vision caboose that's exclusive to this set. You can't get the Santa Fe caboose car or Vision caboose car any other way right now. I imagine maybe in the next catalog they'll offer a few more versions of this and more road names than they have in this catalog, but for now, this is the only way you can get this particular caboose. Moving on to the freight, you have the 50-foot flat cars with trailer, Canadian Pacific with Reamer trailer, the Lionel trailer, which is that's kind of cool. I might get one of those because that's just the interesting. There's Lionel lines on a scale model with a Lionel trailer. That's kind of cool. Then you have the Milwaukee Road with Illinois, California Express trailer. Then you have the PS5 gondolas with Conrail, Ann Arbor, Erie, Lehigh Valley, Canadian National, and Rock Island options. And it looks like never mind. I was going to say that's a different option for paint schemes, but that's because they're 2 different road names. So that would explain it. But it looks like you get 2 options here for road numbers. So if you want more than one for your particular railroad, you can do that. Then you have the grain door box cars offered in the Chicago Northwestern, Minneapolis, and St. Louis Union Pacific, which it looks like it's different on one side as opposed to the other for the Union Pacific, Wabash, Texas and Pacific, and Sioux. Then you have the N8 cabin cars, which looks like it's a new tooling. You have the 2 Pensy options, 3 Pensy options, Penn Central, and Conrail. Then you have GLA Hopper 2-packs. You have Interstate, Buffalo Creek and Galley, Pennsylvania Railroad, and Westmoreland. I hope I said that right. Westmoreland. You have a Milwaukee Road scale milk car up here, and you have 4 packs and 2 packs of the rotary gondolas. In the Detroit Edison, Pennsylvania Power and Light, which has a 4-pack and a 2-pack, and BNSF. And it looks like those 2-packs are pretty good priced at $155 a piece. That's not too bad, at least in my opinion. Moving on to standard O, you have the Centerbeam flat cars in Burlington Northern, CSX, Norfolk Southern, TTX, and WCRC. Milwaukee Road, you have 4 options over here: Trailer Train, Union Pacific, and not Centerbeam, but Western Pacific. Standard O boxcars, you have Kansas City Southern, Burlington Northern, and Gold West. Standard O gondola with coal covers, you have 1 Bethlehem Steel option, and 3 of the Chessie and Reading options, and 4 it looks like for the MKT. Standard O bulkhead cars, you have BNSF, Great Northern, Trailer Train, and Norfolk Southern. And then you have the Norfolk and Western Standard O flat car with stakes, a Standard O box car for the ADM, and a Standard O box car for Ashley Drew in Northern. And then you have traditional stuff. So there are a few things I want to highlight in the traditional, but there's not a whole lot I want to talk about in traditional. You have the 2.0 Mikados, which is nice to see these come back after a long time being missing from the catalog, as well as being upgraded to Lion Chief 2.0. You have Milwaukee, Chicago, and Burlington, and Quincy, Union Pacific, and Pennsy. And I've been looking at getting one of these 060s for a while. I'm just waiting on Lionel to offer them in a road name that I want. But you have Reading, Alaska Railroad, Lehigh Valley, and New Haven. If you have been looking for something small to run around your layout, maybe be a yard engine or something like that, this is a great option from what I hear. All the people that I know that have these love them, and they highly recommend picking one up. So at some point, I'll probably get one, but I'm just waiting on Lionel to offer them in a road name that I want. Now, these Bud cars are super cool. I'm not getting any of them, but from the people that I've heard in the hobby, they think it's really cool that Lionel is offering these. You have the Alaska Railroad, B&O, New Haven, and Southern Pacific. And here you have the ET44ACs offered in the Canadian National, Kansas City Southern, BNSF, and Norfolk Southern. And then you have the GP20s over here. Also in the 2.0 lines, Santa Fe, Milwaukee Road, Conrail, and Burlington Northern. And then you have the 2.0 version of the NW2 in the Santa Fe, Great Northern, New York Central, and Seaboard. Now here's something I really want to talk about, the Disney stuff. You have the normal box cars and the Scout version of the sets, box cars, but this, from what I hear, this is going to be a hot ticket item this come around. From what I hear, this one little toy saved both Lionel and Disney during the Great Depression. And the set actually comes with the pop car here, and there are actually 5 different versions that are being offered. This is the only one that's pictured in the catalog, but there are 5 different options. So it comes with the pump car and a loop of 027 2-rail track. Not 3-rail track, 2-rail track. Because this is a wind-up toy, not an electric toy. Which I think is super interesting that Lionel would be offering it like this. Which this is how it was originally. That's how, so with it being the 100th anniversary of this particular item, I think it's really cool that Lionel offers, or it's 100 years of Disney, that they offer the toy as it was originally. So you got the other standard Disney stuff that's offered in the other catalog, but this is also something I wanted to highlight. when I saw this in the catalog when I was looking through it for the first time, that caught me so off guard, and I think it's really cool. The Willy Wonka set. I've heard some people are going to get just the golden ticket car. I really like the tank car over here, the everlasting gobstopper car, and I just think it's really cool that Lionel has a whole set dedicated to Willy Wonka. I think that's really cool. And you've got the Thomas stuff and the John Deere and things like that, and you got the Hogwarts Express, which is just the standard Lion Chief. I think at some point Lionel needs to do one of these in Lion Chief 2.0 with the more updated electronics, the fan-driven smoke. If Lionel does one of those, I might finally pick one up. But until then, I might just hold off on it. But I think it's also interesting that Lionel is only just now doing the house cars. Which, if you got that, the 3 cars that come with the set, and the 2-pack here, or not 2-pack, but the add-on cars, you could have a pretty significantly long Hogwarts Express. Which I think is really cool that you now have the option to have at least a 5-car train, if not a 9-car train. And now you have the Halloween options, which I think are kind of interesting. I don't think I'll be getting any of that stuff, but you also have the space stuff, rocket launcher set, Diesel with rocket stuff behind it, and the Area 51 set with the track that glows as your train runs over it. You've got the beer stuff, Budweiser, NYC 280 consolidation set, the Gold Mountain set, Texas Special set, which looks a lot like the Chief, the Super Chief, with the baggage car and the add-on coach. And you have the Santa Fe Dash 8 Auto Rack set, which I think they had this in the 2022 Volume 2 catalog. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a different road number. But I feel like they were running this set last year too. And then you have the Great Locomotive Chase set, which I have a buddy who, Carmine, at Fairs to the Mall, who has one of these sets and he loves it. He said it's a great set just to have, really kind of recreating the movie where they chase each other around the layout, and he said it's all good fun. So I think that's kind of cool. I might not get one, but still, that's a really cool set too. So you have the Lionel Lines mixed freight set, Union Pacific Flyer set, Chesapeake and Ohio set, Pennsylvania Keystone, Graffiti set, Emergency Response set, and the Super Chief set. Someday I'd like to pick up a Super Chief set, maybe when they have something like this in 2.0, but I'd also be picking up the extra cars too, so I can have a nice long Chief set. You have the Army set, the 280, and the FT, which I think from what I hear, this is the MTH Rugged Rails version of the 280. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what I heard somewhere. The 44 tonners, Dash 8s, and these TMCC rail bonders, which these actually are TMCC, but they can be run conventionally as well. You have Justice League stuff, Looney Tunes, Disney, and the Angela Trotta Thomas stuff. Chevy and Ford, more beer stuff, and some American stuff. You got the Army stuff, more Army stuff, or not Army specifically, but Air Force, Navy, and then more presidential stuff. If you collect the presidential boxcars, those are for you. And you've got assorted regular O-scale stuff. You've got the Trippy Trolley back, shark fin car, then the personalized stuff. Wrapping it up, here's the Christmas stuff. You got the Polar Express set, as always. Polar Express freight set. Polar Express Bud cars. A hot chocolate car. And other assorted freight passenger cars to expand your sets. TMCC speeder, trolley. Other freight cars, pump car, president car, and Polar Express layout accessories. Now here's the E8, E9 set, along with a bunch of matching passenger cars. The Fezziwig, Camelback, freight cars, bobber caboose, and a hot chocolate car. And got more Disney stuff, and I think that's about how much I wanted to talk about for this particular catalog. So to kind of wrap it up, if I had to get anything from this catalog, it would be the, where is it? Come on. This particular Dreyfuss Hudson, along with the 21 or the 4-pack at least of the passenger cars, just so I have something to pull behind it, other than freight, which I don't have any New York Central freight either to go behind it, so I've got to have something to pull behind it, right? So with all that, thanks for watching, guys. I'm hoping to have some more content coming soon. I'm working on a video of my grandfather on the more detailed information on his train and how he built it. Hopefully that's coming out pretty quick after this video goes up. So with all that, my name is Clay, and thank you for stopping by the SEL.